Hi there and welcome to the Discover History YouTube channel. After a bit of a break and being behind the camera for a while, I'm back, and this video I'm returning to my favourite subject, which is the Battle of Waterloo. You might remember a while ago I did a video, one about the Brown Bess musket, but then also on the Battle of Waterloo I did about the battle for Hougoumont Chateau. Today's video is all coming from one book. This book by Jacques Weller, Wellington at Waterloo, is the first book I ever read on Waterloo. Published in 1967, and what I'm going to do today is a straight account, straight out of this book, about the Battle for Sainte. It's a two-part video, this basically. Today will be about Sainte from this book. Tomorrow's video I'm going to go through looking at what's happened since this book was published. Quite interesting. So basically, yeah, today's video is just a basic account straight from this book. So, Sainte. Oh, got my trusty whiteboard on that Paul's done another beautiful illustration for us to use, map for us to use, diagram. So this is Sainte. North to the top again, south to the bottom. So you've got Wellington's line at the top here, and across the valley to the south you've got Napoleon's forces, just like at Hougoumont. If you haven't watched my Hougoumont one, I highly recommend you do it. Watch it, if not before this, after this video. So Sainte, it's a typical Belgian farmhouse of the area. Not as big as the chateau at Hougoumont, nowhere near as big, but it's a strong building and it's fully enclosed. It has a farmhouse, some stables, a great barn, a gatehouse with a dovecot above. This is a pigsty, piggery there. Then it's enclosed by quite a high wall all the way around, hedged garden at the back, and then stretching for 200 metres down the road here there's a large orchard. It's situated sort of slap bang in the centre of the battlefield. This road, which leads from Genappe to the south and up to Brussels, the main Brussels highway, sort of bisects the battlefield right in the middle. So you've got Hougoumont is here to the west, about 1,000 yards away this side. You've got this little area up here, which is a sandpit, obviously quarrying. There's a bit of a knoll and then a bit of a bush there. The hedgerows round here are banked and ditched, so they're quite a thing to get through. Entranceways, it's quite a strong farmyard this. You've got the main entrance here, two big gates here. You've got the barn's got a large door on here. There's a doorway here at the side of the stables into the courtyard, and the farmhouse has an entrance at the front and then a small entrance at the back. It's the only way you can really get into it. So that's the layout. During the night of the 17th, but probably before the battle, the garrison that was in here on the 18th basically slept the night here. That is the 2nd Light Battalion of the King's German Legion, German troops in Napoleon's army. Got to remember that the king at the time was George III, who was a Hanoverian king, a German king, and the King's German Legion were his subjects from Hanover that came across when Napoleon invaded their country, and they came into exile and then joined the British Army. They were quite a sort of an elite force, a really good force of troops, the King's German Legion. The 2nd Light Battalion KGL were in here overnight, throwing down with it. It was raining all night, and to keep warm, they or some other troops were in the area, burnt that barn door down. So that barn door is now gone. They've burnt it overnight to keep warm. So they are garrisoning this on the 18th. There are 376 men in this garrison in 6 companies, about 60 men per company. Their commander, a Major Baring, he puts 3 companies in the orchard here, 2 companies in the farm buildings themselves, and a company out in this garden at the back. Now, if Hougoumont, the battle at Hougoumont started about 11:30 in the morning. The action here at La Haye didn't start till about 1:45 in the afternoon. And basically what happens is that while the Hougoumont battle's going on, the main attack by French infantry on the ridge up here sets off about 1:30. A whole corps of French infantry start to march down the slope to attack the British on the ridge. There's 4 divisions in line. The first division, which sets off, because it's a staggered move, strikes La Haye first. It's one division of 2 brigades. One brigade is going to advance up the edge of the road to take the ridge at the top. The second brigade is the one that attacks La Haye. Now what I didn't mention is this sandpit's quite important. The battle at La Haye is a German battle. It's mainly German troops from the King's German Legion, some other Hanoverian troops. But in the sandpit here, on this knoll and behind this hedge, are about 3 companies of the British 95th Rifles. If you've ever seen the Sharp movies and Sharp television series, the 95th Rifles are what Sharp is in, and they have 3 companies here ahead of the line of British, the main British line, sort of giving support to the farmyard. So, French under French 1st Brigade under Bourgeois attacks with 3 battalions up from the south here. 1st Battalion gets here, opens fire at the troops in the orchard here, while the other 2 battalions are moving up the side of the road and around this side here. Now Baring's men, and that's where Baring is, he's with his 3 companies in here, are forced back through the orchard by the pressure of these 3 battalions. They basically lose the orchard. His men are in the farmyard here shooting at them, and he basically forms a line here with his surviving troops to try and hold up this French advance. Up on the ridge, the Prince of Orange, who's in charge of those Dutch-Belgian forces, he sees the fact that there's all these battalions attacking La Haye. He sends down the Hanoverian Lunenburg battalion to give some support to Baring's men in the farm. They advance down the ridge and form a line next to Baring's men here outside the farm. Unbeknownst to all the troops here, and even the troops upon the ridge, this massive infantry attack is supported by cavalry, French cavalry. Now Waterloo's not a flat battlefield, there's dips and hollows and all sorts, and there's some heavy cavalry hiding in a dip down here. They're supporting the infantry attack, but they're hidden under here, but they can see what's happening right here. So you've got Baring's men here, and you've got the Lunenburg battalion in line here. French cavalry come charged out of the hollow that they're hiding in, hit the Lunenburg battalion, almost destroy it basically. It's caught out in line, routed, forced to run away. Baring himself and his troops managed to get back in to the buildings away from this cavalry attack, but it's a bit of a disaster. The farm is still held, obviously. Now the big infantry attack that's going on here is famously broken by the British infantry up on the ridge on this side, and then the charge of, it's the Union Brigade and the Household Brigade, British heavy cavalry, Scots Greys. Everyone knows the Scots Greys. They charge forward and they rout all the French infantry and the cavalry that's still milling around here. And that basically relieves the farm for a while. Baring's lost about half his men, so he's gone from about 370 odd down to 170, 180 men. After this attack, after the French have gone, Wellington sends down 2 more companies of the 1st King's German Legion Light Battalion and 2 companies of the 1st, 2nd Nassauer infantry. If you've seen my Hougoumont video, they're the ones that were at Hougoumont. They are sent across to reinforce the garrison at La Haye after this massive attack. Things are a bit quiet. That infantry being defeated, Hougoumont still going on, the fight at Hougoumont still going on, but now the French infantry have to organise. They're totally disorganised, totally routed. They have to reorganise. The next thing that happens in Waterloo, basically, are the massive French cavalry attacks up this side against the squares up on the ridge. So before that happened, about 3:30, there was another attack by infantry on La Haye. It's been reinforced now though, and it gets nowhere. It attacks, it tries to get through the big barn here, which has been blocked up with all sorts of implements to stop the French getting in. But now the garrison is up to about 700 or 800 men almost, and it's secure. French are not back, and then the big French cavalry attacks happen up here for about a couple of hours. They attack up at the ridge, get nowhere. Many attacks by the French cavalry, being shot at by men in the farm, in the flank. That, of course, is a failure. At 5:30, Napoleon says to his commander, you need to take that farmhouse. That farmhouse has got to go. It's a thorn in their sides. So at 5:30, another attack. Thousands of men are thrown against Le Haye. They've already been, again, prior to this attack, they've been reinforced again. They get a company of, another company of the 1st King's German Legion Light, and they get a company of the 5th Line Regiment, Line Battalion of the King's German Legion. They are sent in to reinforce. So yeah, there are about 800 men left in here now. But ammunition is running low. One of the big things at La Haye Sainte is they are running out of ammunition. Never been satisfactorily explained. But we'll talk about that tomorrow. But so you've got a lot of men in the farm here. They've lost the orchard. They're basically defending the buildings. French throw a whole host of soldiers against this farm again. They manage to knock down the main gates. They're fighting to get through this barn here, and it's fierce hand-to-hand fight. The defenders are running out of ammunition, but they kill about 17 Frenchmen trying to get through this barn, and then they're used to pile up into that entranceway to block it for a while. They smash through this door here, which is held at the point of bayonet, but all the time, Baring's men in the farm are running out of ammunition. Eventually they do totally run out of ammunition, and the French basically, they've already set this on fire. They get through the gates, they get into the barn, they get through the passageway here, and then it's a hand-to-hand fight in the courtyard. Baring's men are forced back into the farmyard. They're basically out of ammunition. It's hand-to-hand fighting. The farmyard's about fallen. Up on the ridge, the Prince of Orange sees what's happening. He sees that actually the French are surrounding the farmyard and it's about to fall. He orders Colonel Omtida, who's basically in charge of the brigade that the 2nd KGL belonged to. He orders Omtida to take his 2 remaining battalions off the ridge to help relieve Le Haye. The 5th and 8th King's German Legion Line battalions advance in line down towards Le Haye. Bearing in mind, there's always been one battalion that's been wiped out down here early on in the day. Omti decides to say, I'm not going down there, there's French cavalry in about. They're down here still. He's told in no uncertain terms that he's a coward and he has to go and do it. He knows it's a suicide mission, but he advances his 2 battalions in line, and by the time they get to here, 2 battalions in line, the 5th here, the 8th here, there is French cavalry down here. Omtida has seen them. They again charge and hit these 2 battalions in line. 8th Line Battalion is practically destroyed. Its standard is taken. It no longer ceases to exist. The 5th, a bit closer here, at least manages to form into square and is able to retire back up to the main line there. In the farmyard though, it's all over here. Baring and 42 men managed to escape out the back of the farmyard through this one little door here into the garden and up onto the ridge. They get away, but the farm has fallen. It's the only real tangible success that the French have on the field of Waterloo all day. But its consequences are quite important. With this farm gone, the French are able to bring artillery here, bring all their skirmishers and what's left of their line infantry to start to fire at the main ridge, the British soldiers up on the main ridge, and that's when you get the big guard attack. This is out of the way, clears the way for the attack. Famously, of course, the guard attack is destroyed and the French basically rout off the battlefield. So Le Haye, the only tangible success that the French had at Waterloo, and it lasted from 1:45 to about 6:30 is when it fell. that's it. That is a basic account of the fall of the defence and fall of La Haye from this one book. Now tomorrow I'm going to come back and, like I say, I'm going to do part 2 to this using more sources. Bear in mind this was written in 1967. That's all I'm going to say for now. It's a 1967 book, and you'll see tomorrow why I'm saying that, why that is so important. Well, I hope you enjoyed the video. Like I say, I'll be back tomorrow and we'll finish off. I'll do part 2 on this. So yeah, stay safe and I'll see you all tomorrow. Bye.